Okay, so let's cover example 3, adding and subtracting complex numbers. Every time I put this on an exam, inevitably somebody tries to make this so much harder than it really is. You're just combining like terms. The big thing is if it's addition, you can just remove all of the parentheses and add like terms. All right, so if we're going to look at this, it's going to be the same thing as 3 minus 4i plus 2 plus 5i. We're going to treat this I just like you would if they were the x's or the y's or a z or any other variable. Okay, so you're going to add the 3 and the 2 because they are real numbers. So 3 plus 2 is 5. And then you're going to add the negative 4i and the 5i. Negative 4 plus 5 is 1. So this is plus 1i or just i. Please note that I have it in A plus BI format to where the real number is first and the imaginary number is second. All right. Go ahead and pause the video and attempt to do the next two on your own if you'd like, and then come back and see how I did them. Now, when we're doing subtraction, you want to make sure and distribute this not just to the first term, because inevitably that's what happens, but also to the second term as well. So I've got negative 5 plus 7i. Now I'm going to distribute that negative. Negative times a negative is a positive 11, and then a negative times a positive is a negative 2i. All right, now let's just combine our like terms. Negative 5 plus 11 is 6, yeah, 6, sorry. And then 7i minus 2i is 5i, and it's positive. Again, I've got it in A plus BI format, so that is standard format. The next one can be a little tricky if you don't think of how they have it phrased. It's not 2 plus 5i minus 3 minus 4i. This is you're subtracting the 2 plus 5i from 3 minus 4i. So it's 3 minus 4i, and from this number, you're going to subtract 2 plus 5i. That is how you would have to set that up. Now, again, you want to make sure to distribute that negative to both terms. Every term that's in these parentheses needs to have their sign changed, have this distributed. So I'm going to rewrite this as 3 minus 4i, distributing negative times a positive is a negative 2, negative times a positive is a negative 5i. Now we just combine like terms. 3 minus 2 is 1. Negative 4i minus 5i is negative 9i. Again, in A plus BI format. That is going to be required on the exam. All right, I'm going to go to the multiplication one. Again, I'm going to treat this just like I would if this was an x instead of an imaginary number. Find the product. Product just means multiplication. 4 times 2 plus 5i. I just need to distribute that 4 over every term in that parenthesis. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times positive 5i is positive 20i. And I've already got it in A plus BI format, so I'm done. Please feel free to go ahead and do this one over here. Pause the video. I'll go ahead and do this one for you. All right, when you come back, 1/2 times 5, because we have to distribute to, again, everybody that's in here. 1/2 times 5 is 5/2. And then 1/2 times negative 2i, well, half of 2 is 1, so negative I. Again, A plus BI format. Multiplying a complex number by a complex number. Well, you can treat this as distributive. Some of you might use the words FOIL. Some of you might use a box method. I find that some people have an issue with that, but I'm just going to go ahead and distribute it. 4 times 2 minus 5i. Well, 4 times 2 is 8. And 4 times negative 5i is negative 20i. 3i times 2 is 6i. And 3i times negative 5i is negative 15i squared. Okay, so I can combine the negative 20i and the 6i. Negative 20 plus 6 is negative 14i. And then I've got the 8. I'm going to go ahead and bring that down. What you need to understand is if I equals the square root of -1, then I squared is square root of -1 squared, which is -1. The square root and the square cancel each other out, and you're left with just -1. So where this I squared is, I'm going to bring down my -15, but that I squared becomes -1. So now I've got 8 minus 14i, negative times a negative is plus 15, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 23 minus 14i, again in A plus BI format. You can come over here and go ahead and do the same thing with this one. This one I'm going to FOIL just to make it a little bit more different. 3 times 2 is 6. Outer is 3 times 3 is 9i. The inner is -4i times 2, which is -8i. And then -4 times +3 is -12, and that's an I squared. Remember, the I squared is going to be our -1. So we've got 6. I'm going to go ahead and combine these two. 9i minus 8i is just I. And this becomes -12 times -1, which is +12. Now we can combine the 6 and the 12, which gives us 18 plus I. Again, A plus BI format. All right, I'm going to pause the video, actually stop it, and come back and do another one.